recording.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's on.
Is it on?
Oh, fall books.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to call our meeting to order. We have a full quorum, and we will approve minutes for the library board meeting on July the 13th. So do I hear?
I'll nominate that we approve the meetings minutes from the July 13th
13th.
meeting.
Okay, I need
I second.
a second. Okay, now, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the minutes are approved. Okay, our order of business. Number 1 is motion to send a favorable or unfavorable recommendation to BAMA in regards to the lease for a public access coin operated copier. Okay. Does somebody want to say anything about this? Miss Donna, you want to say anything?
Do we need to make a motion and then we can open for discussion?
Yeah, it's open right now. If you want
Okay.
to give your report, that could
Sure.
be fine. What it is.
Okay, what this is many of you who have been with the library since it began over at our new location in 2002, MTR, the owner, had a plan with Miss Faye Toombs to have 2 coin-operated copiers for public access use. They had been there since 2002. They had been limping along for the past 6 to 7 years. They were to the point where you could not find parts for either one of the coin-operated. They were very, very simple, black and white coin-operated copiers. We had one in the children's department and one in the lab, the computer lab. It got to the point where one totally died, and so we took it out and MTR buried it. And then we moved the one from the children's department over to the computer lab, and it just keeps dying on us. They cannot get parts. So Philip from MTR and Sam have been working really close with me to try to find a more upgraded, nice copier, but very simple, which is what we need for public access use. And they were able to find one. Glenn has looked over all of the specs. We worked closely with MTR to find the correct one that we needed. We had an opportunity to either purchase outright or to lease. And at this point, most of the city is, the city is going to leasing all of the copiers and printers, because that way within 60 months we have the option to go ahead and replace it and stay on top of it. Yes, sir.
Is the city as a whole all getting their equipment through MTR?
Yes, we do go through MTR.
Is this a standard boilerplate contract for MTR?
Yes, it
Yes, it
is.
It is?
Yes, sir.
I've just had a chance to peruse this thing briefly, and just in looking through it, there are several items in this contract that pop up to me as red flags. Has anybody else seen anything that jumps out at them?
Okay. Felicia, as our purchasing agent, she deals with MTR, and they said this is the standard contract that they use.
And this generally goes to Evan for review before it
Right.
goes and gets voted on. I don't remember using Great American Financial before. That's the only confusion with me, is I've not seen them before. Usually we do through Garco Leasing.
Okay, and I can find out through Sam, but he had said this was the very standard one they used. Do you want to share, Dan, the red flags that you see?
Yeah, well, just some of the items that pop up, in the very first paragraph under the agreement. Let me get to it. It still says that we're responsible for monthly payments even if the equipment does not work or if it's damaged, even if it's not your fault. That's a huge red flag for me immediately. This is just a rental of the equipment. We've got services for the equipment that are outside of this particular agreement. which typically I like to incorporate services and the rental through one company. It also says that MTR will be the service provider, and we're not looking to any other service providers to find out if we're getting a market value. So that's something that poses a red flag for me immediately. It also says that they have the opportunity to change price at will, and they'll send us a 30-day notice. I mean, that's a huge another red flag. I mean, those are just three I can see on the first page.
Okay. I just need to go to Felicia for, Felicia,
I'm not seeing it, so I'm not,
It's on this page right here.
Well, if you look on the front page, this first paragraph, it says that we're responsible for payment of the equipment, even if it's damaged. It does not work, even if it's damaged, even if it's not your fault, which is a big issue. Under insurance, it says we're required to provide insurance within 30 days, but it has to be acceptable to MTR's requirements. It's not a mutually agreed upon issue. Typically, when I rent equipment, I don't make it so that my hands are tied by the provider, and the provider is the only one who can institute procedures or policies related to the scope of work for the maintenance of the equipment. Another item here, it mentions that we have to utilize MTR's maintenance crew to do their maintenance on the product, but it doesn't list what any of the maintenance costs are. What's their hourly rate. Also
Now,
mentions about IT.
Okay.
I do know the MTR is the winning bidder, I guess you call it.
it's
in the
GSA
contracts that we
pricing.
do. And this doesn't, all the leased machines in the city automatically are covered with MTR's maintenance. So when something does break, we
They
just
do
call
take care of it.
MTR and they come out and fix it, and that's part of the lease agreement. It also includes free toner.
Well, this agreement is separate from the service agreement. It clearly states.
This
it's
looks
separate.
like something to do with the financing is what this looks like to me, whereas this is the sales agreement and the
Right.
maintenance agreement, the second
And that's
one's
what I was
down. So
looking
yeah,
at.
I'm kind of, as far as the insurance thing, I don't know if that means.
We
I mean,
generally
the
carry
city has
insurance on
already
our
carried
vehicle,
insurance on everything,
on all
so.
of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this, I guess.
That's something I would leave for Evan to, he
right.
will go through that contract and he will mark out and take care of what does not need to be in the contract.
Well-
In the city's benefit. Evan always goes through and makes sure.
Well, that's
And
the
if they
objective
don't
here, right?
change it, then the city generally doesn't.
Right.
Well, that's our objective here, is to make a favorable motion and say, hey, this is something we want to push through, correct?
Right, if we would like to go through MTR in order to get a lease, to lease the copier. And we do
I
a
agree.
favorable or unfavorable.
I agree that we need a copy. I
Right.
just don't agree with this document. The document is full of red flags throughout it. I mean, even if you go to, like you're saying, the service agreement, it says MTR reserves the right to change the price at any time and will notify the customer of any price changes via written proposal or work order within 30 days. I mean, so I would, looking at my operating budget, I don't want to get a notice that says, hey, your next month's is going to increase, and now I've got a variance item that has to come up. So I would like there to be a stipulation on increases related to the servicing of the equipment. I think that's typical. I wouldn't put a preventive maintenance contract or a service contract on a piece of equipment without understanding, the totality of those finances from start to finish. There's no way we can budget anything related to this rental of the equipment without knowing the values, and they have the option to change values at will. Tells me that that's a big red flag.
And then when they change values, we do not continue, because as a city government, if we're not locked in for a certain amount of time, we can get out of it because of budgetary.
Well, it states in here that
restraints.
this is an auto renewal for 12 months, and we do not have the ability to get out of it.
We would have the ability if the funding was not there.
Well, if the funding has been already approved and we have the ability.
If the
for it-
funding's approved for 1 year,
Mhm.
we would go for 1 year. But if it went up, but, we wouldn't have to go up. But my question is, have we always paid for the copier that was the coin-operated copier? I wasn't in
No.
purchasing
Right,
when
no.
we've done it.
That was an agreement between Fay and,
There was an agreement where
MTR.
they put one in.
they put one
It
in,
was
and then they
coin-operated.
came and got all of the money out, that was put in that the patrons
It was
used.
basically, they put it in
Okay,
and they got
Yes.
the revenue from it.
right.
This one, they will get, the
We
library will
would get the revenue,
from
which
it.
would go toward paying for our lease. Or it
Okay.
would go back into our general fund.
That was apparently something that
Then that would be
Fay
something
set
that
up.
we
and-
would, no, it was, we knew about it. We knew there were
Right.
coin-operated ones. My question is you're gonna have to get with Phyllis and make sure that the funds are allocated back to the library and where they're deposited and those
Right.
kind of things. And this lease agreement with this Great America, I've never seen one like this one.
Okay,
Ours have always been through Garco Leasing, which the city uses. The sales agreement here looks
the same.
the
Mhm.
same, and as far as the copiers and all this, I just, the maintenance agreement looks like what we normally get, but this agreement right here does not.
Okay. And, this is why we wanted to come to you guys and to look at it. Sam had said this was what he generally brought before the city, so,
Have we seen cut sheets on this product, Sam? Have we seen cut sheets on this product?
I'm Glenn.
I'm sorry, Glenn. Did you vetted the product?
We've seen yes.
yes, all,
Yeah,
We've
it's
seen
a
the cut sheets
Samsung,
on
it's a Samsung. It's just like the one we have over in the police department, I
Yes.
believe, which is their main workhorse printer. And it's got a standalone, coin box, I guess you call it,
right,
that interfaces into the printer to, when you put your coin in, it tells the printer, okay, I've got 1, 2, 3 copies that I can use, however many credits, I guess it does, type of thing.
Ms. Donna had mentioned
Yes.
something that in the past, the other printers that we had received from, what is it, MTR?
MTR,
You
yes,
found them to do their job, but over a period of time, you didn't have parts for it, correct?
right,
And
that's
that's why you're
correct,
having to upgrade?
right.
Do we know what I can see the model and the serial number here on it. Do we know when the equipment was produced? Is it still capable of getting maintenance parts for the longevity of the contract?
It should be
Yes.
because that one was just put in, was replaced in the police department was it this year or, it was either this year or end of last year. So
He
it's a
said
new model.
within the year it
Yeah.
has been there.
So,
and
and
it's-
generally every leased printer we have in the city, whenever the lease is up, that printer is replaced with the newest model.
Okay.
Okay.
And I will say that if they're starting to see one use a lot of extra wear and tear, they will buy out and upgrade earlier,
Right,
up to a year earlier usually.
Yeah, we did
if
send them
it's-
counts, page counts and everything for
And
the
they'll take
the
care of
free,
that.
you get free
the pa-
paper too.
personal.
yes,
Yeah,
we
you
get
get free paper
free
and
paper
toner.
and free black toner.
Yeah, with the
And
maintenance
I'm
agreement.
sure that's amortized into the value somewhere.
Oh, yeah, it
I'm
it
sure.
is.
Yeah. And instead of the 2 copiers, we're just going to one.
Mhm.
And we're going, since we are going to be leasing it, and we're going to put it in the children's department because that's our more high-traffic area. People who are wanting to make copies quickly will come straight in, go to the children's area, and then be able to go, instead of going back behind reference and going to the lab. So instead of the 2 patron access copiers, it will be 1.
Is this gonna be networked?
No,
It's not going to be
no.
networked.
So we're not gonna have
But-
any IT overhead?
It will not be networked.
No,
Okay.
they
No.
will have the capability to scan. It does have a USB port,
Mhm.
and they can put their flash drive in and scan to their flash drive And then if they need to print from that, they can go to one of our patron access computers.
Yeah, this is not a printer for the computer labs. We have
Right.
printers, we have the color printer and the black and white printer for the computers there. This is strictly just
Just copy.
people need to come in, make a quick copy and go. That's why we don't want it on the network. We don't want it touching any of the networks really, just right there, just like the old ones were. Just come in, put your coin in, make a copy, and you can go.
Is the children's area best place for something like this?
It
I mean,
is
'cause-
where it is located.
I mean, I'm just concerned about the children, you know, getting messing
No,
it up. or
and I
something.
would love for you guys to come in so I could show you where it was located. This is where our older one was located. It's as you come into the front door and into the gallery, then you immediately take a right, and it's right there on the wall. It's right inside of the children's department, but not
It's
Okay.
readily
Off the
accessible
engine.
to both parts of the library. It's a good spot
right,
for it. It is a good
very
spot for it.
easy to
Yeah.
get to. Mhm. And people who come in to want to use the copier, generally, that's what they want to do and they want to leave. We do make copies for people up at the front circulation desk, but we have to take their documents to the workroom and make it. And people like, if they have something secure that they want to copy, to be able to do it on their own. But no, it's a very safe,
Okay.
safe area. And safe for the children. Thank you for your concern.
Okay, any more questions or?
So these are very good points to bring up. And I would be able to contact MTR to see, Felicia, about why we have a different financial service and,
Mhm. Now, are we gonna pay a maintenance of quarterly of $150 for this machine, as well
Yes.
as? Okay.
yes.
As well as a monthly rental of $99.99.
Do we know how much
I
that
was
they
gonna
were?
say, you told me once how much they estimated they
Yeah.
got from
Right.
those coin ops.
They said from the machine in the children's area, every quarter, they received around $350 to $375. And the one in the lab, anywhere from $175 to $200. So, once
To
a
combine
quarter,
those together?
right.
It would
once-
pay for itself.
It would pay for itself.
Is there any ancillary income provided by this at all, or is it just to pay for the contracts?
I'm so sorry, say that again.
Any overage from the value that comes in for usage, does that get applied back to our budget?
It would go back to our budget. Yes, all of this would go into our budget, and then that's what we would look at in order to help pay for the copier, and the overage would stay in, in our general budget, general fund,
Okay.
to my knowledge.
Any more questions for Ms. Donald?
No, I think it's a great idea to get the piece of equipment in there that allows everybody to come in and do what they've got to do with it. I just think this needs to be reviewed a little bit more before, I can personally say, yes, I'm gonna say I can send this forward, because
Yeah.
as in its current state, I can't.
I agree with him.
So, we would go with an unfavorable, and
But I
then
will
I
make a
would
motion
just,
for unfavorable then.
Or defer it to a next meeting.
Yeah, I think that there's a couple ways you can do it, kind of based, echo on your concerns about wanting to flesh it out. If you're not prepared to send, or if the board's not prepared to send either an unfavorable or a favorable recommendation, you can always move to defer this particular motion until there's a different contract before you to review and give a favorable or unfavorable recommendation to. Alternatively, somebody could move for a motion for unfavorable recommendation. It would have to be seconded, and the majority would have to vote in favor of that. And if that is what is in favor of it, then it gets sent up there with an unfavorable recommendation. I would note that if you're going to do an unfavorable recommendation, you might want to list the reasons why in your motion, some of the concerns you have. The last option would be to do a motion to give a favorable recommendation of it. And if that were seconded and approved by a majority of the board, that would be the recommendation that would go before BOLA. I'd also note too that before any contracts get entered into by the city, I'm a city attorney and I work with Evan Cope, but he's a senior city attorney here. He reviews all of the contracts, so does the city administrator. And if there are any illegal provisions or anything that the city cannot agree to, those would get edited out. But if you do have any specific concerns with the contract and you wanted to list those in your unfavorable recommendation motion, you probably want to do that so that BOMA has an idea in the minutes, the reasons for your concern. That make sense?
It does.
Cool.
Well, in light of that comment, then I would move to defer it so I could get a little bit more information on what I see here in front of me and maybe some explanations to some of my questions, that it will allow me to kind of move through it and either become comfortable with it or make a recommendation that we make an adjustment in line A, whatever, so that we can go ahead and move forward. I'd hate to send something forward as an unfavorable just to get it pushed back so we can start back all over again. That's not the objective here. We're trying to make some progress. So I would make the motion that we defer and obtain additional information.
I would second that. I think we need to know why this Great America thing, you know, I wasn't aware, I don't think you were aware, you were, and good
I know
thing you're
nothing
here.
about it.
No, but we need to know why that's different than,
Why is it
than what
different
you've,
than
nor-
Garco
you've
leasing?
normally
Right.
seen.
That is my
That's
big,
my-
that is
yeah.
right there is a big issue to me, is why,
Why is it
because I have
different?
always been adamant that I wanted all our leasing with the
Sure.
same company so that it was easier to keep track of when the leases were up.
Mhm. Yep.
And
So I
if
think-
we're going through the same company, we should be getting some kind of a break on our equipment, you know.
We
some
get
kind
the
of scale
GSA
of time.
pricing, we get the government pricing, is
Okay.
what we get.
Cause it's done through the whole bidding process, right?
It's
Every
under
3
government.
years or something like that.
We go through the GSA
Yeah.
pricing.
Chairman Green, I think it'd be wise, since of all the discussion, that there is a roll call vote for the motion to defer this matter until the next meeting, pending further
Yeah.
information.
Yeah, okay. Does someone want to make a motion?
I will make the motion to defer.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
All right.
And I say aye, okay, so it passes. All righty. Okay, I guess we're down to the upcoming events, Ms. Donna.
We'll go to number 2, the
Okay.
Book Systems Upgrade Atrium.
Okay,
As you all know, that we were closed for a week, the end of August, and worked very, very hard to get Atrium in. I appreciate Glenn and Jackie coming over. We had a very intense training on that Wednesday. All of our heads were just kind of bopping back and forth, but it's been very worth it. We have upgraded from Concourse, which we have had for over 15 years. And
over what?
15
Oh, I thought
years,
you said
not 50, but
and I thought,
15.
oh, no.
Felt like 50.
I'm sorry.
And like our copier, it was limping along too. Glenn repaired many, many problems that we had had with Concourse. So we were very happy to say goodbye to Concourse, and we are embracing Atrium. It's a very modern book systems. What the book systems does is it helps us keep up with all of our patrons, all of their history, their checking in, checking out, their data of address, phone numbers, things of this sort. It helps us check in, check out. We do all of our cataloging through Atrium. Our OPAC, which is our online public access catalog. We no longer have the card catalog. We have an OPAC. It's just awesome now, so I'd love for all of you to go to our website and see our OPAC. It is a work in process and in progress, and it's coming along really well. Also, you'll notice that it has the snapshot of the book covers, which is a really cool thing. You like those, Kristen? Good. Very good. Book covers, tables of contents, some of them have first chapters, reviews. It is a stress-free system. It's going to be a stress-free system. But we are really enjoying the modern look. I think our patrons are enjoying it. They're able to renew online now, so we have been pulled into the 21st century. They also can opt in to have overdue notices sent to them by email. Also, what I really like that helps, they can have a reminder that, oh, in 7 days your books are going to be due, or in 2 days your books are going to be due, which to me is a very positive thing. I go for the positive. I don't like sitting out an overdue, you should have brought your books back yesterday. You know, I'd rather send out a nice little, they're going to be due soon kind of notice. And that really is helping out. Let's see, Glenn, tell us a little bit more about Atrium. It's
Covered most of it. It just automates a lot of things that they had to do manually, and
yes,
there's still a few things to get tweaked, but all the email notifications and the patron can actually manage their account now. So they have their own PIN number, they have their own, you know, library card number, and they can go in there and set up those things that she just talked about. When do I want my notice sent to me? 5 days before they're due, 7 days, 2 days. You know, all those things, they can do it by text message, they can do it by email, whatever they want, doing the reserves online.
yes.
And then they'll get an email when the reserve is ready for them. Just simple things like when a book that's on reserve comes in, Concourse, it would tell them that it's on reserve. They would have to take it, see who it's on reserve for, take a piece of paper, write it out, phone number, all that stuff, put it over there. Now, they just hit a button and it prints a receipt with all that information, and they're done. So time-saving things too for them is a big thing. You can utilize those people elsewhere. So
Really is.
So it's, yeah, I think it's a pretty good system, and it's getting better and better. We
It
find
is.
things every day that are, oh wow, look at that.
I would love for any of you, if you would like to see how it works, to come over and we can show you how to check in some books and kind of see what happens there. The cataloging, a lot of people don't realize we do all in-house cataloging, and that's a big deal. The importing of MARC records has been simplified, and so we're very excited about Atrium. You have any questions?
I personally thought it was great. I was looking for Dante's Inferno illustrated for somebody, and I was able to see that they had the oversized. They had, you know, this, that, and the other, and, you know, whether it was in and not seen. So
Good.
I thought it was a really easy to use and informational system. So I was quite pleased.
And Gary, you might be interested in this because you were talking about the children's area. Over on the children's side, the OPAC is actually set up for the children. It's called Kids Viz, correct?
Yeah.
Kids Viz. And it's very picture-oriented, like search for a book. You can put title or you can put the author. And it just makes it very interactive. And so the children are learning at a very young age how to use the OPAC. And very colorful, just really, really good. Okay.
We're ready to move on?
Yes, ma'am, and I'll go a little quicker on number 3, upcoming events. Of course, this Saturday is Old Timers Festival, and the library will be closed because we will be up at the park with not 1, not 2, not 3 tents, but we will have 4 tents.
Oh, no.
And we are so excited. AC got a super good deal on tents, and they had run out of tents, so they had a particular color of 4 tents that he was not going to buy, but he called me and he said, do you want 4 pink tents? So look for the pink tents. Of course, we're going to have to add our own special touch. They will have black polka dots on top of them. So look for the pink and black polka dotted tents. The theme is...
Has Lorna recovered from her
Lorna
fainting
is
spell
so
yet?
excited, our children's librarian. She wanted to bedazzle them, but we told her we're going to do black dots. The theme is a moment in time, and since the library is a part of the Kids Zone, we chose a moment in time, the 1950s, 1960s, and 1970s. So all the staff will be dressed in those era, and we will have books and games and toys there from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I'm looking for some barrels of monkeys. If anyone have any barrel of monkeys, we're going to have hula hoops, jump ropes, jacks. I would love to do, because we're going to be near the baseball field, a dirt area where we can have some marble playing going on. We'll have 50s and 60s music going on, so please stop by the tents, plural, and see us. I think it'd be a lot of fun. We really are excited about it.
You always do such a good job with those children.
Well,
I mean,
it's
always
fun.
Yeah.
We have very creative staff, and they have gone above and beyond with this. Moving on, our fall book sale will be Friday, October the 9th from 12 noon till 4, and Saturday, October the 10th from 9 until 2. Last year, we went from just giving a donation to actually charging a price for the books. And so our hardbacks are 2 for $1, and our paperbacks are 4 for $1. DVDs are $1, music CDs 50 cents, audiobooks $1. And last year, we pretty much sold out of everything. We did really well. I can't think of the number right off the top of my head, but for 2 days, we were really impressed. And all of these items that we sell are items that are donated to the library, because anything that we buy with our library funds, we put on Gov Auctions. And so any of the books we have in our book sale are donated to the library. And then Gross Scrub in October will be Thursday, October the 29th from 5 to 6. This is another great, fun kids activity that parents enjoy too. You come dressed in your Halloween costume if you would like to. You get a theme that the library staff likes to dress up. And then the library staff actually prepares the grub, which is gross sounding but very delicious.
You need
Such
to try it
as-
if you've never had it. It's good.
Yes, we'll have lady fingers, which are sugar cookies with almonds on them, cut in a finger. We'll have kitty litter cake, served in a kitty litter box with a kitty litter scoop.
Sounds appetizing.
Yeah,
It looks awesome.
it's good. I promise you.
We usually have a Jell-O brain, and we always have dirt with worms. So it's just a lot of fun stuff, just to kind of get the kids into the festive season of Halloween. And then, as you can see, our library board meetings, November the 9th, January the 11th, March the 14th, and May the 9th. Do you have any questions for me?
You did a good job, Miss Donna.
Well, I appreciate the board, and I appreciate your concerns over the lease, and we'll get that worked out. And I think that will be wonderful.
Okay, does anybody have anything? Okay, I suppose we're ready to close this meeting.
Thank you.